Okay, well, hello and welcome. This is a recorded session for the Wiki online training, and today we're going to be going over the basics of editing on the Wiki, and it won't be enough to get into some of the really fun and interesting things, but what I hope to do is at least show you where information on some of the fancier tips and tricks sit on the wiki, so you can go back to that and make you feel confident that there's lots of resources that will help you as you gain confidence in your editing and want to progress beyond the basics. So the first thing that you need to know is when you come to the wiki page, the wiki is, just like any other website, freely available to anyone with an internet connection. So anything that is on the wiki is out there in, in the ether. And but unlike Wikipedia, which is sort of the best known wiki, you can only edit on the AIC wiki with permission. And in order to have permission, you will need to watch this online training session or undergo one of the live online sessions, and then let me, Rachel, the AICE editor, know that you've done that, and I will sign you up with both an account and then upgrade your access to what is the contribution level, so creator access. If you don't have creator access, you may have an account, but it doesn't actually allow you to do anything in the wiki. So if you're not logged in when you come to the site, it's just going to look like this with an IP address. And you will get a username and password. Unlike most websites, on the wiki, the username is case sensitive, so just something to keep in mind. And you will get sort of an automatically generated password that you will be able to change to something much easier to remember. So in this case, I'm going to just jump to, to the main page on another browser where I've already logged in. And you'll see that once I do that, actually, there's a few other things that come up on these tabs. And so let's just go through that. There may be a couple of tabs that I have because I have higher level access, but most of this will be the same for anyone with creator access. So the first thing to understand about a wiki page is that there's actually two parts to it. The first part is the page, which you're seeing here. The page is essentially the text that people are coming to see. That's sort of the outward-facing part of the page. But every page also has a discussion or a talk page. And that's a great way of sort of seeing what discussions or information went into the creation of the content page. So, so we'll talk a little bit more about how this is used by some of the various groups. But what you'll start to see as we go through is that the page title is a really key piece of information because it's what allows you to understand sort of what page you're on and how to link to it. So just to give you an idea here, we're on the main page. This has our overall navigation and all the tips on getting you started. And if I click onto our discussion page, you'll see that this title changes. So we have like a prefix here, which is talk, main page. So this prefix becomes part of the actual title. So a talk or discussion page is formatted and created the same exact way as a main content page, but it has this prefix. And you'll see as we talk about other kinds of pages that this will repeat this idea of a prefix in the title of a page. So in any case, once you log in, one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do is to click on your username, and that will take you to your own user page. And you'll see here, again, now we're in what's called the user pages, and so we have this user prefix, and this is my username. My username actually doesn't conform to the the standard protocol that that we use for the Wiki, which is first initial and last name, but all the rest are lowercase. So when in doubt, that will be the format. And we use our names on the AIC Wiki as opposed to sort of best conservator 123 because we want there to be some transparency. We want people to be able to use our names and our expertise and our background as, you know, as a way of helping them evaluate the status and content of a page. So in any case, you can see here I've just put in a little bit about myself. It's a nice place to sort of experiment with doing your first bit of editing, figuring out how you can upload a document, put in an image, play around a little bit. So I encourage you to do that once you get your account set up. But let's just go back to the main page for a minute and sort of talk about how our wiki is set up. So our wiki was set up initially importing a number of the conservation catalogs that had been developed by several of the specialty groups. And so that content came over from a written format, and it has a very sort of offline structure to it, like with a, you know, a table of contents and numbered chapters and things like that. It's a format that does not translate so well to the wiki especially once you start to update and expand and move things around. But you'll see that as part of the sort of legacy. So a number of the specialty groups like textiles, paintings, and book and paper had these catalogs that were moved over from print format. A number of the other specialty groups like the electronic media and objects sort of jumped in and worked directly creating their catalogs in the wiki. So I'm just going to show you a little bit. So here you'll see you know, this structure here with the Roman numerals as opposed to, let's go to the objects page where they're using the table that gets automatically generated if you're using the various headers. So I just wanted to sort of explain a little bit about sort of where our content is coming from. Generally, each specialty group has a wiki chair or coordinator, and each group works in a slightly different way. Some is, you know, sort of a much more online wiki process, and, you know, people are putting information up independently and asking for it to be sort of crowdsourced and edited by their peers. Other groups have a much more offline editorial process, and the sort of final product goes up online. So when we're talking about content in the materials and treatment section, it's sort of important to remember that there is a bit of etiquette. Like, you can always go in and update a link or link from, you know, sections. You can correct a typo or a broken link or, you know, something like that without checking. But if you want to, you know, substantially edit or add to materials in any other specialty group section, you are encouraged to be in touch with that wiki chair just to sort of make sure that that's working along with their guidelines. However, since that process, you know, started, that was the original content that came to us. Now we have a large number of other sort of content groups that are created sometimes by the various AIC networks and committees. and working groups, and some have just been set up by individuals, and so those sections have sort of a different etiquette to them. So for preventive care, we have some material that's being overseen by the Collection Care Network. Mount making is sort of overseen by the Mount Makers Forum group. Education and training is broadly overseen by the Education and Training Committee of AIC. Work practices is a bit of a free-for-all. Hopefully someone will lead that venture down the road, but the Public Relations and Outreach Toolkit is an ECPN venture. And this additional topics, the history of conservation, exhibiting conservation, lexicon, are all things that are sort of collaborative efforts across the platforms. And materials and research analysis is also very collaborative, although some of the primary material has come from the RATS group. So the reason I just wanted to mention this is just to, again, encourage you to, reach out. Generally, any given page will have some information about, who is in charge of that page, and how you can, guidelines or information on how to get in touch with them if you have an update or a correction or, something to add or contribute. Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump into one of the pages and start editing so that you can get a sense of that. So we're going to just practice on one of the lexicon pages, just because there's a lot of opportunities there. And we're going to surf to the lexicon term list, and let's go to B, where we have an entry that we're going to look at for bloom. So one of the things that you'll see here that's interesting is that there's a couple of different colors going on, and there is the distinction between the two blues is not as bold as I would like, and so that is something that may be dealt with in a future update. But if you can see it, you'll see that there is sort of a light blue and a dark blue, and that distinguishes between pages where content exists that you've clicked on that link before. So the light blue is a link that you've surfed through recently, and the darker blue is one that you haven't. But blue indicates that this is an active link with content in the page, as opposed to red, which somebody has created the idea of a page, but if we click on it, you'll see that it throws you directly into the editing of this page because the content does not yet exist, and it says you have followed a link to a page that does not yet exist. To create the page, start typing in the box below. And once you do that and save the page, that link will go from red to blue. But if we're not ready to do that, we are not going to put any information in there. But you'll see that also changes the color a little bit. So now we have this sort of darker red that indicates, that you've been there. So in a sense, when you want to create a new page, you're going to actually create a link to a place that doesn't exist until you go in and put content there. But for right now, let's follow a link to a page that does exist, and we're going to add a little bit of information here. So here you'll see we're in the page for bloom, and again, you'll see this idea of the color distinctions. We have content on this page. We don't have any discussion, so the discussion page is red. It sort of exists as a concept, but there's no content there. So the lexicon pages all actually have a template that was developed and is easy to download. And let me just go back a minute to the lexicon page where there's actually, this content was created, the template was created and this gives you some information on how to actually use that to start you off with your formatting. So a number of the specialty group pages also have a general template, and they can be modified as you go, but it's nice to not have to reinvent the wheel. And different pages also have sometimes outline their citation format, and this is something that we're trying to make sure that everybody is using the same citation format. But we'll come back to that a little bit too. Okay, so here we are in our Bloom entry, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple of things that I would like to add here. So I'm going to go into the Edit tab. And so just like when I clicked on that red link for a page that didn't exist, you'll see here that it throws me into an editing window that's similar to things you've probably seen elsewhere in other sort of word processing programs. And this one is sort of slim. There isn't a lot of what we call the WYSIWYG, the what you see is what you get options, but there are a few which are really helpful. So this is also what starts to make people's eyes go crossed a little bit. So when you're editing in the wiki, there's actually a little bit of coding that you're doing, and these WYSIWYG buttons are here to help you, but there's a lot that is not included on these buttons, and so there's other ways to figure out how to do that. But what you're seeing is here, this is lots of, sort of apostrophes and brackets and equal signs and dashes and upright lines, and all of that goes into creating the formatting that you'll want to see. So let's first talk about what we can do to add some text. So right now, I'm going to add a link to a glossary reference elsewhere. And let me just make sure that it's not here. Well, in this case, this one is here. And we're just going to check to see if this is the right one. When I'm working in the wiki, I tend to have a couple of browsers open so I can sort of check what I'm doing. Okay, so this link is not working, so let's see if we can find it. Okay. So this one was Bloom under furniture. Here we go. Okay. So we have a couple of nice examples. One of our colleagues has generously allowed us to use his images from his glossary that he's built up to illustrate some of the things in our lexicon. But because that link there was broken, we're just going to copy this, and we're going to put this one in here instead. Okay, so I've just replaced this link here, and I want to see if that's actually going to work. Before there's a couple of options here down at the bottom of the page. You'll see summary, and if you edit on a page, this will automatically come up as watch this page, which means that if somebody else goes in to make a change to that page, you'll get an email. There's another way to watch pages, and I'll show you that later. But whenever you hit the save, it's helpful to put in something in the summary, and I'll show you why, because that information gets tracked, and it's easy for people to then sort of see what's been going on. So in this case, we're going to say updated link for, let's see. Okay, so first I'm just going to show you what the preview mode is. I like working in the preview mode because what it does is you see what the page looks like while your editing your editing remains open. So that's sort of helpful because right now I realize that somehow the formatting has changed and we don't want this link up on the we don't want our category link up here with the previous link. Spaces on the screen is something that the wiki does not recognize. So if you want to have spaces put in, you need to put in this BR code with the little brackets, the little greater than and less than sign. And so let's hit show preview again. Okay, so that now pushed it down to the next line, but we actually probably want to do that again, give us a little bit more space. Okay. Okay, that's sort of looking better. So one of the things that we'll talk about is with links is that all I did here was paste in the URL, and you actually see the URL, it's active, but it's the full thing, which sometimes is nice because it allows people to figure out where that link is, or if something goes wrong with it, sort of to track it back. On the other hand, sometimes it's a lot on the eyes, and we just want a link to take us someplace, and so then we're embedding the links with our text. So we'll come back to that, but I just want to explain a little bit about the preview. So it says here up in red, remember this is only a preview, your changes have not been saved. If I actually click on the link here just to make sure that that's working or something, I will lose all this, work that I've done on the page. Of course, it was not a lot of work right now, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, but there's really nothing worse than spending like a half hour getting the page to look just right and then clicking on something and realizing that you were working in the preview mode and you haven't saved your page. So before we do anything else, I'm going to save the page. So there's no reason to not save, frequently. And what you'll see now that I've saved the page, that preview warning has gone away. And if I click on history, you'll see that that save now logged it with my username, and the text that I put into the summary here is now there. So somebody can sort of go in and see, like, it's not clear maybe what Louisa did because she didn't put in anything into the summary, but this user did a nice job of doing that. And sometimes if you don't see anything in the summary, it was just a small correction of formatting or typos or something like that. But anytime you add real content or make a change, it's great to use that summary field. Now that we're in the history tab, I just also want to show you that this should make you feel comfortable that the wiki is sort of unbreakable. You can always go into the history page and the edit page of any other page to sort of see the coding behind it. And even if, let's say, you were trying to copy something and all of a sudden you cut it, there's no reason to panic. You didn't break anything. So one of the things that's really great about this is that you can actually compare selected versions. So let's take a look at what I have here from one of the early versions of here, let's look at this one actually. and we're going to go to compare selected revisions. So this takes a little bit of experience sort of making sense of it, but you'll see that this is the original version here on the left. There are even older versions, and this is the latest revision. And so this shows you some of the things that were either added or removed. So most of these are additions, at this point, all of this. Now, this doesn't mean that I added it. It just means that these were additions, that took place after the this particular entry was saved. So, so you can always track and sort of see what other people have done to a page, and if necessary, you can roll back or undo and get back to a previous version. So, if you ever find that something has gone terribly wrong with the page, you can always contact me, but you can roll back, and you don't need to worry that you've have to go off and hide, because this is one of the great features. So let's go back into our editing mode, and let's just talk a little bit about some of the other buttons that are up here. So I would like to add a little bit of text to this entry. And so we're going to say bloom can sometimes be mistaken for mold. Okay. We're just using this for training purposes, but let's say I want to emphasize this. I can, let's say I want to bold it, so I can highlight my text and click on bold, and you'll see, just like up here, we have these 3 apostrophes, and that's going to give me bold. Well, maybe I didn't actually want bold. Maybe italics would be better here. So same thing. I can highlight and then click on the button. If I know that I want to put something into italics or bold, I can actually press the button to start me off. But what you're seeing here is that it's giving you the code, and then you have to fit your text in here, in the middle. So okay. So this brings up something that's important to understand about the wiki and sort of coding here, is that generally if you start a piece of code before some text, you'll need to finish it. So sometimes if you find that something has gone a little bit funky on a page, you'll want to go back and see if you have sort of like hanging bits of code out there. So one way that you can see this is in the size of your font. So this is a bit of code that you can add, and I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to go into preview mode. So you can see that I've created that I've made this font slightly bigger here, and actually it's now done that for everything here because I did not end this. So let's go back into, and to end the code, you're going to want to put your with a backslash. So let's it's hard to, to remember what it looked like before, but this text now is back to its normal size, and this one is still a little bit bigger. So I'm not sure that we really want that, so let's go in and get rid of this. But let's run through a couple of the other WYSIWYG buttons. So this, if I hover over it, it should tell us it. So this is the button for a signature and timestamp. So the signature and timestamp is something you probably won't use on a content page as much as on the talk or discussion pages. So let's just go in and I'm going to show you a good example of a talk page, which was the object's main page. Has a really nice discussion about sort of how they got started and how they structured their initial initial outline. And so you'll see here this says L. Gordon for Leanne and then K. Holbrow. And so this if you use that button, will automatically put in your username and a timestamp. And so this is something nice to do when you sort of want to say, okay, I was in here, I created this content this, time, and sort of leave a bit of a breadcrumb trail for yourself. So we don't want to do that here on our actual content page, but I'm just going to show you what it looks like. It doesn't look like anything really until you go into your show preview, and then you'll see that it pops up. Okay, so let's go back in here, and we're going to get rid of that, which we don't need. And before we go into some of these others, you'll see we have headings, format, bullet lists, and so some of these are sort of self-explanatory, but you'll see a bulleted list item. So this again comes up. This is the relevant bit of code, and then I'm going to say, wait. Now here it's if I already know that it's an asterisk, I don't actually need the WYSIWYG button. I just can put in an asterisk. And this is getting a little silly, but it's hard for me to think and talk and type at the same time, so you'll have to forgive me. So, so here we'll have our bulleted list, and I'll show you in the preview. So, okay, there we go. And, instead we could also change that if we wanted to be a numbered list. So here we would take out our asterisk and replace it with the number sign. So the one thing to know about the asterisks and numbering is that you don't have the same freedom that you do, let's say, in Microsoft Word, where you can have tiered levels of numbers and bulleted lists with different little bullets. The bulleted list here, once you, if we do this, it's going to start the renumbering else over again. So let's just show you a preview there. Okay, so because we had the space in between there, it didn't recognize that as a continuous list. If we get rid of that, then we have a single list. So it's just something to keep in mind as you format your page. Now, this kind of bulleted and numbered list is different than our table of contents. So if we go into our text, you'll see that these are our headers: related terms, synonyms, translation, and discussion, further reading, but we don't have any numbering there. That's created by the use of the headers. So and I encourage you to use the headers, because that keeps your formatting consistent across pages. It allows you to automatically generate the table of contents if you wish. If you don't, there's a way of taking it out. But you'll see there's level 2 down through level 5. And so this will automatically provide some formatting and a sort of hierarchy to your pages that 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 will be reflected in the table of contents. So rather than experimenting with font size and bolding and italicizing and lists, stick with the headers as a way. So you'll see that a level 2 header has the 2 equal signs before and after, again, starting and closing off the code, and a level 3 header has 3 equal signs before and after. So let's just go back in and look at those. So you have your related terms, which is a level 2 header, and your synonyms in English, which is your level 3 header, back to a level 2 header here. Okay. So there's a couple of other things that page break that I mentioned is here. You can do, this is again the big coding for a slightly bigger font, a slightly smaller font, and then superscript and subscript over here. So this is most of the formatting kind of stuff, and you'll see this is in this advanced formatting menu. If you have special characters or anything as you're typing and you don't have those on your keyboard, you can choose them from the list here, and there's a couple of other alphabets here. And when you get into help, there's some reminders of what some of the most commonly used WYSIWYG buttons are here. So let's go back to advanced, and here we're going to go in, and now let's say we want to add a picture that we have from the Fine Arts Conservancy about Bloom. So there's already a couple of pictures in here, and it's a nice way to sort of see what's going on. There's this is what you're seeing here is the code for one particular picture. So before we do this, though, I'm going to actually go in and save. Even though this is not text that we'll want to save permanently. Okay. And you'll see that I've fiddled around here by making the fonts different sizes, the big and little. It superseded the listing. So again, just something to keep in mind. So we want to put in, we have a wooden object here, we have some fatty spew on hide, but I have a picture of Bloom on a painting that would be nice to add so that we can see different ways that that Bloom appears on across different collection types. So the thing to know about images is that it's a two-step process to add any additional kind of file to a page. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a page for that file. We're going to put it into our media library and create a page for it, and then we're going to use the title for that page to embed it as an internal link. So I'm going to keep this page open where I'm logged in. And I'm actually going to now log in to this other browser. So bear with me a second. And you'll see that the easiest way to do it is to go down to the bottom menu and hit Upload File. But it is also available from our main page. There's a link there, and there may also be up in our header, but this is the fastest way to get to it, so the upload file. So the thing I like about the upload file page is we've put in a little bit of some of the pieces of code that are most helpful. And sometimes when I'm working, in addition to having two browsers open, I'll also have a Word document up, which is sort of like my cheat sheet, so I can you know, pull that up and paste that little bit of code in. So let's talk, we're going to sort of go through and see what the difference is between these little pieces of code. So first, you can upload various file types. You can have Excel and Word documents, PDFs, and various JPEGs. We ask that, well, the maximum file size is 100 megabytes. We ask that you resize your images appropriately for online use before you put them into the system, because we do, you know, pay for storage, and our Wiki content has grown enormously over the years, which is great, but we don't need to be storing enormous files if they're not going to be shown. So if you're going to be using something, you know, you can resize it down, preferably under 5 megabytes. We also assume that any image that you are uploading onto the Wiki site, you have obtained the proper permissions for, or they're under Creative Commons, or, you know, something that they're, you know, free and permissible to post onto the site. So that's the responsibility of, you know, of the creator. So here we're going to choose this file, and we're going to look for, okay. So I've chosen my image, and the file name comes up automatically, and we're going to say that this is, actually, let's go back into the glossary and see if we can even find, so this is Bloom. We're going to include our link here just for reference. Okay, so again, just like when we did some editing, it's nice to put in something in your summary so that we have information on the original source of, you know, and permissions on that file. Again, this comes up automatically that we're going to watch this, and we're going to click upload. Okay. So now you'll see this wasn't a particularly large image, but it gives us, you know, the size of this preview is plenty large enough for probably anything that we're going to want. So this page now is devoted to this particular file image, and you'll see that it has, you know, documents the size of it, that I uploaded on the state, and the information that I put into that summary. And then once we start linking this file, it will automatically show you what pages are using that file. But what's most important here is that now you see that we have a file prefix here. But when we want to link to this page, it's this entire title that's going to be important for us, this full page name. So I'm just going to hit copy on this. And if we go back, this is where I have my little cheat sheet. You'll see these were the different ways of putting in this file name into our page. And let's just go in and see how that looks like when we do that. So we're going to go back into our edit mode. And we're just going to put this down at the bottom of the page for now, and then we can fiddle around with the formatting. So our first is, so you'll see it's just using sort of a placeholder in my cheat sheet. But so we have file, ACA blooming, and we're going to close this off. So this double bracket is actually the code for an internal link, and we're going to come back again to linking. But there's two kinds of links. One is internal, meaning linking to pages within our wiki, and the second is external, linking to pages that are not in the wiki but are elsewhere on the World Wide Web, and they're going to use a single bracket. So anytime you see double brackets, that's linking to something within our site. Okay, so let's just see what happens when we use this second format. Okay. Oops, I forgot a little bit of code here. Okay, so here what we're saying is we want to link to this image, but we don't want it to be its full size. We want to make it a little bit smaller. And this bit of code means that we want it to be a thumbnail with a caption, and we're going to want, in this case, maybe rather than having it on the left, we're going to align it on the right. And we're going to put in our text saying, okay. And we're going to come back to this third one. Let's just take a look at this. We're going to show our preview. Okay, so as you can see, the difference between our full-size version and our smaller version is pretty substantial. And this is probably, too large. This might be a little bit too small. So we can go in and say, well, we definitely don't want this. But this is, a good example to just know that, you're linking to that page, that link works. But it's these little bits of code that you put in afterwards that, modify how that's seen. So let's take a look there. Okay, well, that's sort of starting to look better. So let's go back in and we can okay, let's save our page for now. Now, I'm not going to actually upload another file because it's already in there, and I don't have anything actually new that is valid to go in. But for this third thing, I'm going to show you another how to do that on a different page. Let's navigate over here. And we're going to find our page by searching. The wiki has a really robust search mechanism, and there's a couple of things to know about searching, so this is a good opportunity. So let's type in ivory. So this just took me to the top page that was listed as ivory. But if we do this is going to take us into a full search page, and you'll see that this is only searching for content pages, but we can also search on our media pages, and what's most useful is to go into your advanced page. So here you'll see that you have actually a list of all the different kinds of prefixes that we were talking about, our main content pages, but we also have that user prefix, we have a file prefix, we'll get to categories in a couple of minutes. So if you want to specify where you're looking for this content, you can do that in an advanced search. So here I want to look maybe in main, but I also want to look in file, just for fun. So you'll see that these are page title matches. So this matches the title of a document, a PDF document that's been uploaded, and then some other images here that have Ivory in the title, and then the page text matches. So Ivory's mentioned on the table of contents of objects. So you can see that this is going to catch everything. So page title versus page text, where it's embedded in the page. If we add in, or let's change it to user, we'll see it may be that we come up with Stephanie Hornbeck, who uploaded all that material, and she probably put into her user page that that her interests include this topic. So let's go back to our file and main pages. So so we're going to go into Ivory. That jumped us down to Ivory, but we want to go in here. Okay, so here you're seeing some of the images that came up in our search. What I want to sort of show you is down here. This is a couple of different things related to the use of images and files. So here we have Stephanie Hornbeck, and this link is going to take you to the actual PDF of document that's been uploaded into our media library. And we have this little image here of the PDF, which sort of makes these links pop out. But her document is so beautifully formatted that we also put in a picture, file of it, just so it would, do a little bit to jazz up the page. So let me just go in to show you how, like, a PDF is going to, look a little bit different, and what you can do to make sure that this link to the little PDF icon doesn't come up as an active link, because you don't want to click on that and it just takes you to the little icon. So let's go into our edit mode. And I think this is a good example of sort of showing you, if you don't remember how to do something, it's totally valid to go into another page and be like, okay, how does that work? And what you're looking for is sort of like the little bits of code and that you can literally just take out, copy and paste, and insert your new page name, your file name. So in this case, we were looking at this entry by Stephanie. So here is where you're seeing that third option, this media. So this Hornbeck Ivory ID, this file name, instead of putting file in front of it, you're putting it as media. So you're not linking back to the actual page, you're linking to the document itself. And here, with this upright, this is, we don't want to see the whole file name, we want it to come up with the title. So, and we've bolded it. So even within this whole link, again, is a way of, there's a lot of different code here. You've got the internal link taking you to this, but we want it to look like this on the actual page. Next to this, we've put in that little PDF logo, and we have put in this little bit of code to take out the link. So it's just coming up as the little image and not actually taking you anywhere. So this is different than what we see here, which is not the PDF, but an image file of the PDF, which is what we're seeing on the right-hand side there. So let's just go back to the page. I didn't click save because I didn't actually change anything, but and go back and take a look. So again, this links to the PDF. This is just sort of like a little highlight to show that the PDF, make it pop on the page, and this actually just links not to a PDF, but just to an image file, of that PDF, so you know what you're seeing. So does that make sense? I've sort of thrown a lot of stuff out there. Let me pause for a second just to see if it's making sense about the idea that uploading any additional media, whether it's a PDF or a Word document or an image, goes into the library, and then once you've created that library page, you use that, and there are different ways that you can link and present to it on the page. Is that making sense?
Yes, yeah, that all makes sense.
Okay. So, and again, I went through it really fast, but remember that you have that sort of cheat sheet text on the page, and that you can always look into any other wiki page to to see how their code works, and and just cut and paste that. So okay. So let's go back into our Bloom page and just talk a little bit more about links. So let's see if we can find another. Okay. Well, again, just for the purposes of our of working on this, let's say we want to put in a link to this abstract on our page. Let's pop back into our editing mode, and we're going to say okay. So this link is not one that is on our within our wiki. This is an external link. So we're going to do we're going to put in the code for an external link, and then we're going to paste in that. So again, we're putting in the address where it's going, and then we're also putting in the alias. Now let's see if I did this right, because there's different ways to format the internal links and external links. And if you haven't done this in a while, you can sometimes get it a little bit wrong. So, okay, so I'm not going to click on it right now because I'm in preview mode and I won't have saved it, but it seems like it's working. It's come up here. The way to do it for an internal link doesn't involve the space, it involves this bracket, or this sort of upright line, which gets a little confusing when you have eyes after it. But let's see if I've gotten myself confused. Well, actually, that looks even better. So here, let's go to Save Page and see if that works. Uh-oh. What did we do there? So somehow something got corrupted on the way. Okay. So it's it's a good habit eventually to check your links and make sure that they all work properly. But going back to our editing mode, you'll see that with some of these links here, let's see, where is a good one. So this is, again, double brackets, an internal link to our mold and biological infestation page. This is another internal link. And here we have the external link, and again, a space, and then this is the text that you're actually going to see. So let's just take a look at that. Again, we're going to be looking for clarifying the haze. So here's how, how it came out. Again, here the link is embedded. So if you want to make your life a little easier, one of the other things that you can do is you can use the little link WYSIWYG button. So here it actually, sort of lays it all out for you. Are you doing this to a wiki page, meaning within our site, or to an external web page? And here you would put in the the target page, meaning the address that you want to get to, or the full title name of the page in our wiki, and then basically how you want that to appear, whatever caption. So so here, let's just say we want, let's see if there's anything else that we want to link to in our wiki on Bloom. I bet there is. Maybe not. This is coming up. Let's do an advanced search. Okay, so maybe we want to link to the PMG in painting page. So again, this is our full title. Easiest thing is just to copy it. And so we're going to say that this is where we want to go. It recognizes it as an internal link, and we're going to say painting page mentioning Bloom. And so, well, I put it in here, but you'll see that it already put in the full page title of where you need to go, the brackets around it, and then this little upright bar, and our caption title. So that's the nice thing in using the little link button. It means that you don't need to remember which number of brackets and whether you use a space or whether you use an upright. These are a couple of also the different ways of formatting other things. The picture gallery, which is different than pictures. If you have a number of pictures, it's another way of having them come up, and the table. So tables I'm not really going to go into because it takes a lot of time, but you're seeing what a table looks like here. They're sort of eye-numbing, and if you forget any of your little dashes and uprights, you'll get something funky going on. But again, this is the kind of thing that conservators excel at, looking at something carefully and being able to reproduce it. But just know that there is ways to do, that simplified doing tables, but what I think is mostly easy is, to copy and paste, a table that looks right. And MediaWiki is sort of a common language. There are different protocols for, let's say, editing on Wikipedia, and there are various other widgets and plugins that different sites have. So not everything that works on Wikipedia will work on our wiki, but if there's some really cool bit of coding that you're seeing on another MediaWiki site, and it's not working on ours, and you try it, you can shoot me an email and say, hey, I want to be able to do this. Why isn't this working? There's a couple of advanced bits of functionality that we'd like to have, but it would require us doing some upgrades to our server, and we're not quite ready to do that yet. But I do maintain a list of sort of our wish list of things that we want to be able to do. So just know that if you're seeing some capacity elsewhere and it's not working for you, let me know. Okay. The other thing is that that there is the citation. There's different ways that citations are used, and that's a great way of, another good thing to sort of check around and surf around the different pages to see. One of them will sort of upload the links and create like an endnotes or a footnote. But I'm not going to go into that right now because I want to discuss a few other things like categories. So you'll see down at the bottom here, we have this category prefix for lexicon. So everything that is a lexicon term here should have this category. And let's go back, sorry, to special pages, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about categories. Meanwhile, have I saved this page? I haven't, but here, let's okay. So you'll see this is all the sort of stuff that we've been adding now. Now let's take a look at special pages because there's some important stuff here for you to know about. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to know is that if you need to reset your password after you get your automated password, that you'll do in special pages. You will have slightly different links coming up here with your level of permissions, but there's a lot of cool stuff you can sort of check on statistics and sort of what are the most linked to pages. But some of the most important things are to look at the list of categories. So here you'll also see some of these categories are red, meaning that their page has not actually been used. They may have been linked to, but there's nothing on that page. But let's go to one of the better category pages. And if you go in to add a category for a new page, so for instance, any paintings, new page for paintings, you'll want to probably put, let's see, we have paintings so that you can see that there are 30 pages here. And this page doesn't have any text, but anytime you add a category link to a page, and it generally goes down at the bottom of the page, and it will automatically add it to this running list. So this is a nice way of quickly jumping or knowing which pages you might want to cross-link to. But the thing, and again you'll see this has the category prefix up here. One of the things that's neat about the category pages is that you can add content to them just like you would any other kind of page. So let's look at the molded fungi page, which Susie Morgan did a really nice job of showing how a category page could be used. So she added some basic introductory text and some links and images and all sorts of things. And then this is this automatic listing of the different pages that's generated by adding that category tag. So this is a way of sort of easily gathering all the stuff on one topic together. And so what I really am hoping that we'll start seeing more of is that instead of every specialty group writing a page on, mold and including sort of all this general information, that we can have, one general, one page on mold that has, like, let's say, all the general information and the health and safety and stuff that's common across our specialty groups. And then it will link to those individual pages which talk about treatment of, moldy artifacts or items, or, other particular repercussions, or how we recognize it, or how, what the definition is, or all of those kinds of things. So the category pages will hopefully help us stop reinventing the wheel, on some of this text, and have a little bit of a better hierarchy. I think, let's go back to some of the other, things where we have, let's see, emergency response and recovery. So there has been some effort also to clean up the list of categories. You can create, a new category just by putting the category tag at the bottom. Let's see what's down here. So this has photographic materials and ink painting are the two categories that were added here. But you probably will want to check the category list just to make sure that you didn't put down exhibits in conservation or exhibition planning and there's already an exhibit planning. So we want to try and use terms that have already been created rather than having slight variations on terms unless there's a reason. So I think we have emergency response, and let's just see, I think we got rid of disaster response. So we wanted to make sure that everything was using one term. So this this has a little bit of text here. Let's see who was smart and added that. So Stephanie did a good job in adding that, and probably when we were culling the list of categories. Okay, so so adding a category tag to to a page is also essential because what it will do is let's go back to our library page, is that it will also help ensure that this sort of breadcrumb trail is set up. This is created when based on where you are linked to within a page, but also by the categories that are at, so this is within objects, and so that's how it generates this automatic quick way of jumping back up through the sort of hierarchy of page links. So let's just pop back into our edit mode and see if there's anything else that we didn't cover. We have our formatting issues. We have our external and internal links. We have our media. Can you think of any questions that you might have?
I don't think so. I feel like it's, I feel like you really covered the basics well, and I just will sort of have to do some clicking around and experimenting and seeing how other people did things with the code. But
Right.
it seems pretty straightforward,
Yep.
actually, more so than I was expecting, so that's great.
Okay, that is good. So let me just show you one other page that's good to know about. It's here under navigation, you have this current events, and so this is where we've put a bunch of tips from previous Wiki editathons and other programs. I'm quite behind in adding some of the things here, some of the updates, but you'll see a little bit about like why is the summary important? How do I indent? Let's jump down to that one. So indenting versus doing the bulleted lists. How to do the notification of updates. So you'll see, remember, when you edit or start a page, it'll automatically check off that whether you want to watch that page. So up at the top here, you have a watch list. And so here you can actually go in and edit your edit your watch list. So these are, all pages that I've edited or created or watching. So you can, take that out. And if you want to be emailed, up here in your preferences, that's where you're going to put in the email that that it should send to when you have when changes are made to any pages that you're watching.
Okay.
So again, this current events page has a lot of sort of useful bits and pieces, especially, I'd say check back there for the adding images and also the bit on citations. This is one of our newer bits, embedding the YouTube preview window, which makes pages look a lot more fun. And so here on the citations, you'll see that there's this is that one doesn't look like it's been updated, so I'll have to go back and check about that one. A little bit here about audience for the wiki, removing links to images. So this is another really good one if you haven't been working on things for a while to go back and check on.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And then the last thing, just again, the main page on the Getting Started also has some links that either go to internal links on our pages or other Media Wiki help pages in terms of adding images and citations and some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing what you get up to on the wiki, and hope that this is sort of helpful in getting started. The one thing that I didn't cover actually, and before I let you go, maybe we'll just touch on that, is again, we were editing in a page that was already created, but let's
Mm-hmm.
go quickly down to paintings and say, okay, well, here's our contents. Maybe we want to add another appendix here.
Okay.
And what you're also seeing here is that if we go into the edit mode up top, that will open up the editing window for the whole page. But sometimes on a long page, it's possible with all the coding to sort of get lost in there. And so in any section, again, if you're using those headers, it will give you the opportunity to edit within just one section.
Oh,
So
great.
we're just going to, let's say, click here. And so you can see it becomes a little bit more manageable. And we're going to, so we have an indent, we have a bullet, and now we're going to create a PSG stretchers and strainers appendix 4. Okay. And we're going to just show the preview on this one. So you'll see it's added that to our list. Uh-oh, what did I do here? PSG. Ah, I see what I did. Okay, so this is actually, this is a sort of like a renaming. This is actually how the page was probably originally loaded into our wiki site here on the left, but now we don't need all of this, it's sort of part of the header under stretchers and strainers. So we want to just simplify how this looks on the page. So again, we're going to put in our code here and put in sort of our alias. Okay, so you'll see I've now created a link to a new page. It's red because it doesn't exist. And if I hit Save Page and follow it to that, then it's going to open directly into that editing window, and it's going to allow us to start creating that page. So again, once you're ready to start creating new pages, it's the same as creating any other internal link. If you link to something, a page that you know exists and it comes up red, it's a sign that you got something on that page title just a little bit wrong. So you have to go back, and once it's, the correct link, it'll come up blue. So the one thing I'd encourage you to do is that as you see here, they've set up these sort of aliases to slim down an original page name. But we can, I have the ability to delete. I don't think you have the ability to actually delete a page. We can always delete a page and create a new page with a proper name. But when you're starting a new page, take a few minutes to sort of think about what is going in the page name, making sure that there isn't a page with that name already, because that is the one bit of code that you can't actually change. You can set up the alias, we can set up redirects. There's a lot of other things that you can do, but making sure that you that you get the page name right can sometimes save some headaches down the road. So I'm going to delete this because that was not a necessary change. And in fact, if I just click, it's going to tell me that I'm leaving the page, which is fine. And you'll see that appendix doesn't actually exist.
Mm-hmm. So, quick question with relation to the paintings page specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a few questions, which I was hoping we could go off recording for.
So why don't I stop the recording and
Okay.
we'll stay on. But just as a reminder for anyone watching this recording down the road, if you have any questions, please be in touch with your Wiki chair or with me. Anyone who's working on the wiki also has access to the AIC Wiki listserv, and that's a great way to announce, new pages and have people take a look at them. Just because we put something up online and just because the search function in the wiki is robust doesn't mean that anyone will find it or know about it to go look for it. So I encourage you to let people know when you've added something that you want some eyes on, but it's also a great place to ask questions because someone may get back to you even faster than I do, and there's a couple of other people who have wiki editing capacity beyond what I do. So so I encourage you to feel free to use that list. So thank you very much for joining us today.